Schneider, and I'm here with Rhonda. We're here today to talk about local truck driving jobs and what Schneider has available for that. Rhonda, did you want to start off by talking about what kind of opportunities Schneider has?
Sure. I mean, I think one of the things that, people often mistake about with Schneider is that we're just an over-the-road company. So really just wanted to talk today about that fact that we do have local opportunities in a lot of areas and in a lot of different lines of business. So, van, truckload, dry van, we have some great opportunities for flatbed local in some areas, some tanker, just a little bit of everything. So wanted to get that word out there a little bit about, those types of things. Letting drivers know that we do definitely have home daily type of opportunities out there. So I don't know, kind of the things that we were, you and I were discussing about things we wanted to kind of bring into focus about that. And maybe you could talk a little bit about more in depth about the background on local driving or what those opportunities might look like in certain areas.
Yeah, so local driving, typically drivers would get home every day. That's what we consider our local. You don't typically travel more than a day's drive away from home, and that is so that you will get home daily. Most of the freight is going to be no-touch freight, and typically the home daily opportunities are paid hourly or daily. Now, some accounts are no, by the load and by the mile is just intermodal, and I don't think that's home daily. So my bad on that.
Yeah, I think, just kind of going off that just a little bit, we do have in some areas, like I would say, like your major metropolitan areas that we have the intermodal opportunities in where there's, big predominance of intermodal opportunities. You'll see some of those home daily where they do have a cents per mile and a load pay rate, but you're right. A lot of them are like a daily rate of pay, or in some states where it's, considered the part of the, the minimum wage laws and things like that. Those would be more, I think, hourly. If I'm not mistaken.
And as far as when you drive during both the day and night. Some of them will be dedicated to nighttime driving, sometimes days. Sometimes you don't even have a set schedule. It's wherever that need is for that local work. Right. Typically for our local accounts, you just have to have a Class A license. And some of them, I believe, like intermodal, might drive a day cab or a sleeper cab. It really depends. Local driving is a little bit different than regional in the fact that you're staying even closer to home and you're not staying out on the road, sleeping in the truck, things like that.
Yeah. And I know you kind of brought up a couple of different terminologies that maybe we have some newer drivers out there. So kind of talking about, solo, dedicated, intermodal, that type of thing. So just really solo is pretty much self-explanatory. You're going to drive by yourself in the truck. Dedicated with Schneider may be a little bit different than what it is with some. We're not talking dedicated lanes. We're talking more about dedicated to the customer for Schneider. So you're still employed by Schneider, but you may be hauling freight specific to one of Schneider's customers.
Sure. We have some questions here. Roman Wireless, does Schneider pull DAC reports when hiring drivers? He also asked, does Schneider have local tanker driving jobs in Louisiana? As far as local tanker driving jobs in Louisiana, it does vary. We get local driving jobs all over at different times when different opportunities come up. You can find those by going onto our website, www.schneiderjobs.com, typing in your zip code and then filtering it out to home daily, and that would pull up those local opportunities. As far as DAC reports, I'm not sure. I don't think it's called DAC report that we pull. So if you're asking DAC report, we don't pull that specific report. And then Ambu, does Schneider have local driving jobs in Denver? Same thing. Go onto our website, type in your zip code. It'll pull up what opportunities are available out of your area.
Yeah, definitely. I think that'd be one thing to say, that for local, it is very much domicile specific. So in order for us to answer questions like, do we have those available in specific areas, it is certainly, we do need to have zip codes, and either you can certainly look those up. We have a great way for you to, if we don't currently have something, to sign up for job alerts right on our website, so that if something new gets posted, then you get a notification so you can look at it, because Emily can probably attest to this as well. Local jobs fill very, very quickly.
Yes. The only ones that I don't see fill as fast is maybe out of the Chicago area for intermodal. Typically, we have a lot of those available, but
Right.
other than that, they do fill up pretty quick.
Right. And really, though, that's an area that's growing very large for us, and that would be a good reason why. And we have a lot of different opportunities, like crosstown for intermodal, where they're
Right.
transferring from rail to rail back and forth on any given shift. So they are really staying very local to the Chicago metro area. And, that's a fast growing business for us. So that gives a lot of opportunity. And I do see we have a couple of another question coming in. Ivan Reyes, interested in Schneider's tanker division, and you live in New York City. Okay, very good question. You're asking, where would you go for training and how long would it be? Very specifically, training for tanker just depends on your experience. It is the longest of our trainings, just due to the safety and all of the learning that needs to be done on tanker. So it's anywhere from 3 to 5 weeks, depending on experience. And for your area of the country, Ivan, we do try to get you to our Pennsylvania location, but it does depend on if you were to sign up for something specific that required a different location.
Looks like DJ asked a question. Does Schneider spec its trucks with microwaves and refrigerators? I know some of them do have refrigerators built in. Microwaves are not something that come in them, from what I know. I know that you can put one in there, but they don't come with the microwaves. Correct me if I'm wrong, Rhonda, but I
right. The microwaves at this time are not part of our specs, but refrigerators is a huge push right now, especially this year, to be getting refrigerators in as many of our over the road and those trucks where you need to be out overnight, the sleeper trucks.
Right. Yeah, so diving into what type of local driving jobs Schneider has. Solo, which would be driving on your own, you're not in the truck with somebody else. A lot of our local jobs are solo versus team, because the teams are set up to be basically constantly running and hauling those long hauls with having 2 people in the truck. Dedicated, a lot of the local is dedicated. You'd be hauling freight for one primary customer, and that's with like a steady lane, consistent schedule. You wouldn't necessarily see local in the job title for that, but if it says home daily, that would be a local format. And then, Rhonda, if you wanted to jump into the other couple opportunities that we have for the local.
Mm-hmm. I know we have a few that are considered, multiple times a week home, where you may have to be out over the road for a night or so. Those go out a little bit further, so that there's that chance that you might run out of your DOT clock and have to spend the night on the road. But you would, be coming home a couple of times during the week, and that's, I guess, semi-local, or you would kind of, say that would be. The really great benefits of driving local, if we have that available in your areas, Emily mentioned before, would be that daily home time for most cases. And, obviously the work-life balance, if that's one of your needs at the time, is being home as often as possible. That's another great benefit for the local drivers, and getting those familiar lanes and getting to know your customers, because you are traveling in such a small radius and seeing the same places over. So, and having a lot of options to choose from.
Sure. A couple other questions
coming in.
If you wanted to answer them, you can.
Sure. RN is asking us that says he's in the RM is in the process of getting their CDL and wanting to know if they should apply at Schneider now or after they get it. Definitely, if you're in school, you're in the process, you want to go ahead and get your application in as soon as possible. Our recruiters will work with you to get you scheduled and keep in touch with you as you're going through the truck driving school process. And then when you have a road test date scheduled, then we start getting you set up and on the, finding that perfect match for you. And that way you're ready to go. Once you have that license in hand, we can get you in fairly quickly. So that is a good question, and we would definitely recommend you do so.
Yeah, we can get you a pre-hire letter, kind of get the ball rolling. Then you know where you stand when you get out of school. We can get you started as soon as time allows. So
Yep, exactly.
That application, and like Rhonda said.
And DJ's asking if he can put a TV in his truck. Yes, they do have the ability to do so. And I know that some of the trucks, I think from 2019 or 2020 purchases on have the mounted or having the mounted brackets for like a smaller flat screen TV that they can actually put in that come already in there. I know that, trying to get that stuff because of the way that, technology and everything is going, that is one of the things that they're looking at making available for drivers so that, they can use the mount that's there. So those are nice as well. And Mary Ann Soto says, does Schneider have a driving school or a sponsored school? You want to take that one, Em?
Sure. So I wouldn't say that we have a driving school. We have our apprenticeship program, and it's apprenticeship because it's not a recognized CDL school. It's an apprenticeship program. So we bring you to our training facility, pay you while you're there, and help you get that Class A CDL. As far as a sponsored school, I don't know that it would really be sponsored, but we have another program where we send you to different schools that we work with and pay for you to get your Class A CDL, and then you come on board with Schneider and drive on one of our accounts. So hopefully that answers your question. We don't really have a specific sponsored school or driving school through Schneider, but we have options to help you out with getting your Class A.
Correct. Yeah. So definitely. And again, that always does depend on the area that you're in, what type of opportunity is available. And one of the things too that, Marianne, if we don't have one of the apprenticeship program, which is on the job training to learn how to how to get your CDL and help you get that road test done, or the schools that we would send you to, we always offer tuition reimbursement. So if you were to get into a truck driving school and on your own and did have to pay for that in any form, then Schneider does offer up to a $7,000 in reimbursement costs towards your tuition.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, we've touched on a couple different things as far as local driving opportunities go. Keep those questions coming. We're happy to answer those for you. Some of the benefits that we've covered, the daily home time, work-life balance, different configurations to choose from. And then, as far as experience, don't necessarily require it. Some accounts do, but that's like when you Schneider.
Yeah. And Emily, it looks like you're freezing up just a little bit. I'm not sure if you wanted to repeat what you had just said a little bit, just the last bit of it.
Yeah, as far as needing experience, we wouldn't necessarily require experience for all of our local opportunities. Some of them do, but that goes with any account at Schneider, whether it's local or regional or anything that we have different requirements for those. But just because you don't have experience doesn't mean you won't get local.
And the best way to really do that, everybody is really just, wanting to know what is specific to your area, what the different opportunities are. And we've said this, but just kind of want to reiterate that, finding the right position for you, whether it's, local or another type of driving position, is really to, look at the opportunities based on where you currently live, by going to schneiderjobs.com and putting in your zip code after the truck driver tab. That will really help you see and narrow down what opportunities are open. And if you have questions, as always, we are, very willing to assist you over the phone as well. Looks like we have a couple more questions coming in. Emily, did you want to grab those or? Oh, well, I'm not sure if are you able to hear me? So Chris is asking if you get your CDL from a different state and you plan on being based out of, do you have to switch residency? We do require along DOT guidelines that you would be licensed in the state that you are living in. So you would need to get it transferred. Schneider does require that you transfer your license to the state that you're living in within 30 days of hire. So I hope that answers the question that you have. If you have more questions about that, that was a great one to talk with one of our recruiting specialists about. And then RVA driver is asking if I can fit my driveway for my home time, what would I do with the trailer? So really what you
Looks like Rhonda froze up a little bit.
would,
Rhonda, looks like you froze up a little bit there. You're back.
okay, looks like you're back. So the question that was just asked was if a driver could fit their rig in their driveway, what would they do with their trailer for home time? And I just started to answer that. So I don't know if you want to grab that one.
Yeah, sure. So typically if you are parking at home, they would require you to have space for the tractor and trailer. Otherwise, you would have to find a safe and secure location near your home, and you would get that approved by your manager, work with your manager on that. Sometimes you may not take a trailer home, but you have to have the space for that just in case. So.
Yeah. And some accounts do require specific park locations. So, those are all dependent upon the account and such as well. So.
Yeah. So, I mean, we've covered a lot of information. We've answered a lot of questions. If there's any more questions that you guys have, you're more than welcome to keep them coming and we'll get those answered for you. But I think that's all we have for today.
Right. I don't know if there's any other questions coming in, but we will still continue to monitor the questions that are feeding in. So try to answer as many as we can, even if we can't get to them on on today's live segment. So I think that we did cover just about everything, in a high overview. But again, as always, you can reach us by calling in to Schneider at 1-800-44-PRIDE. Also reach us through, putting in an application on schneiderjobs.com.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.